What is going on, hockey fans? Welcome back to episode 4 of Lightin the Lamp. I'm your host, Dola, and with me, as always, is my boy, Mr. Ginta from the East Coast. How we doing over there, Mr. Ginta?
Good as usual, man. I mean, obviously, we got a little bit into the fact that we can't catch a cold out there as far as the gambling goes, and we got a hurricane coming down here in Jersey, so I'm batting down the hatches. I'm thinking of maybe putting in a little recovery parlay here today, maybe fix it up, try something here, because nothing's working for the Rangers, nothing's working for the betting. I think it's time that maybe I take out the 24-ounce tall boy of Bud Heavy here, and I'm going to do some chugging today because we need a little change out here today. Got my Calgary jersey on. We went away from the Ranger gear. We're going to change everything before tonight's game because I can't bear the sweep. So what else you got on that, Tim?
I can't bear the sweep either. I mean, let's not say we're moving away from the boys, right? We still got the New York Rangers lid still rocking. We still love them. The boys are going to be playing today at 8 p.m. I think it's Pacific, or is it 8 p.m. Eastern too? Because it's a late game by you guys. But hopefully we see some change, see something different out of the boys today. We're still believers. We still believe it can happen. But I definitely think we got to shake it up. The boys got to shake it up. The betting's got to shake it up. I'm not against a parlay. I'd probably say a two-team parlay. Let's keep the expectations reasonable. Let's try to maybe win back a little bit. Let's not try to win it all back at once. And then we just make our slow cuts and get back to neutral, and then we start firing and bringing home the green for the Lamp boys.
Couldn't agree with you more, but here we are, Bud Heavy. Obviously, we're keeping you alive in this pod. We still want the goal lamp. That's not going to stop. I don't do this very often, but I'm going to shotgun it because I'm not a chugger like Tim over here. Mr. Beardola, he was afforded his name back in college. I'm more of a liquor drinker myself. But
wow, steps on the name, dude. I earned that name back in high school. Beardola was a name born from the cauldrons of drinking beers, of beating seniors in chugging contests as a freshman and sophomore and smoking people older than me, counting back half of 30. But, it was a different time. It was a different life. We've moved on a little bit. We've grown. We've matured. But, JG, I want to see you put that down. It's time for you to do it. I'm thinking if you do it, it's just going to come to you. The two-team parlay is going to come to you.
You got to give me 1 second here, Mr. Beardola, because I'm going to need a knife for this. We're going to cut her open good here, and we're going to slam her down for the boys.
You're going to slam her down. I love it. I'll keep the people entertained. JG's about to go get a knife, cut into this beer. He's going to shotgun it for all of you out there. Again, I'm still into chugging beers, still can chug beers, still got the power to chug beers. But, again, we have to change something up. Something's not clicking right now. I don't know if it has to come from our end or come from somewhere else, but the juju ain't working, So we'll see how it goes. We're waiting for Joe to get back here. But a lot of hockey to talk about. We're going to be covering all the Western Conference games that we've seen thus far. There's been a great slate of games that even the round-robin games had just unbelievable plays from both. I think the Knights had just a spectacular finish. And honestly, the finish at the end of the Avalanche Blues game was just something else to behold. But here we go. JG's chugging back, shotgunning the beer, slammed it back, made the boys proud. He filled those Beardola shoes with absolute pride, made me proud. He absolutely maybe better than me.
I don't know how you do that every show, Mr. Beardola. That is a feat right there.
Hey man,
for sure.
This is what I got to do if this is what I got to do for the fans. If this is what I got to do for AB InBev to take us seriously, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not worried. I'm not scared of you, InBev. I know you're a billion-dollar corporation, but guess what? The boys are buzzing, and we're putting back beer, and we're going to keep drinking these babies until we get our lamp. I know you have it, and I know you better be sending it. Hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter in some private message, and guess what? We'll get back to you with an address to ship the lamp to. But
we're going to bring another beautiful drink into this world for the rest of the day. This is what I'll be drinking, watching hockey for the rest of the day here. Too many bubbles for me. I'm going to let Mr. Beardola finish off the rest of those Bud Heavies today, and let's get into the Western Conference here, Bud.
All right, man's got an Arnie Palmer spiked. He rocked the Twisted Tea the other day, rocking the Arnold Palmy today. I love it. We're getting into the Western Conference games. I think I have to start it off. There's a lot of games we can go through, but my favorite series out of the West so far, Chicago Blackhawks versus the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, look at what I got on. I can't. I'm stoked to the max about this series. It's been absolutely phenomenal to watch. I was in bed. My wife was telling me, shut the computer down, stop watching hockey, and I told her to go shove it. I had nothing else to say at that moment. This game was 3-3 going into third. I couldn't go to bed. I had to watch.
Oh, it's a must. It's a must. I mean, like, hot take, Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, obviously, Edmonton was able to outlast in game 2 here, but I mean, Chicago is just a thorn in their side. They match up well. The veterans are flying around out there. Taves, Kane. I mean, the mix of young studs, Kubalik. I mean, does he win the Calder?
I mean, 5 points in the first game. I mean, if they make it all the way to the the Stanley Cup, he might be talking about the Conn Smythe. You know what I mean? We don't know.
Jeez, what a stud! I didn't even know who he was before they put his name on the Calder list. Just an absolute weapon. Goals, assists. The kid can wheel. I mean, where the hell did he come from?
I don't know.
What an absolute animal. You got DeBrincat. The list goes on. They're still offensively just incredible. I mean, it's scary how good Patrick Kane still is.
I think it just, what I see in the Hawks all the time is I think what I want to see out of the Rangers. You know what I mean? You look back to 2008, 2009 when Taves and Kane were the young guns, were the DeBrincats, were the Kubaliks, were the Kirby Docs of the group. All those guys all those guys firing just as young studs, lifting up the veteran group. I mean, even Keith was young at that time. Jarmelson, younger guys back then. But they're doing it again. When you watch the Hawks enter a zone, they do it with presence. They do it with poise. They slowly control the puck. They slow the tempo down right when they get it. They make a few passes. They get a shot on net. And when they're doing it against a team that has as much freaking swagger as the Edmonton Oilers, for a young group, they're younger than the Rangers. On paper, they are younger than the Rangers. And for them to be doing this as professional as they're doing this, Hawks, let's go. I'm impressed. I'm in love again. Like, it's absolutely amazing. And
that hot take isn't looking so crazy anymore, is it?
That's not a hot take anymore. My hot take of Edmonton in 3 was obviously the hottest take of all, but it's gone cold, baby. It is a dead body. It's in the Passaic River. It got put in there in the Meadowlands like it's a freaking episode of The Sopranos. You know what I mean? It is gone. That theory is freaking gone. And I got to say, even the Hawks staying in, even last night's game 2, the Hawks were in there until the third period, and Connor McDavid would not be denied. And that was why I picked Edmonton. I picked Edmonton in 3 because you see it, 6 goals in game 2. They would not be denied. They were pissed off about how game 1 went. And Connor McDavid's like, fine, you know what? Hawks are going to come out firing. I'm going to put up 3, and we're going to get this done. I mean, that's just what
obviously
happened.
The best player in the league. I mean, he's not going to go down without a fight. We know that. He is just an absolute animal. He has got to be, I don't know if it can't even be an opinion anymore. He's the best player in the league, hands down. I mean,
his second goal, I think, epitomizes why he's the best player in the league, because the second goal, it was a flip out of the zone. He turns his stick over, taps the puck down, hand-eye with the toe of his stick, hits it to the ice, starts stick handling it, burns the defenseman that knows he's coming down, just goes supersonic in terms of speed. And instead of having to beat the goalie wide, he's just like, I'm going to go backhand. Don't worry, I'm going to just float this over your shoulder. You basically don't exist in this net because I'm going to make you look stupid. And there you go. Goal number 2.
I mean, to me, this is still your 5-game series. Like I said, I like Chicago. I mean, there's only so much for me that McDavid could do. Goaltending wise, I think Chicago's got the advantage. I don't love the goaltending in Edmonton. I think it's mediocre at best. I think that if McDavid can keep it going for 5 games straight, yeah, they're going to win. But if Draisaitl doesn't pick it up a little bit here, he's been quiet, which is a phenomenon. I mean, because he's an absolute weapon. But I mean,
Nuclear bomb, dude. He
can't
ends
live.
wars.
You can't live and die off McDavid for me. So
Listen, the Capitals
right now the
did
Hawks
not.
are showing to be a little bit deeper, and I think I think if McDavid wants to play the way he played last night, yeah, they're going to win the series. But it's solely based off McDavid. I don't think Edmonton has enough.
Gotta wait
My
and see.
honest
I mean,
opinion.
right there at the end. I mean, James Neal, you got a couple goals from some of the other guys. I mean, it was pretty late. I mean, McDavid had already been carrying the team, but I do have to say, when McDavid carried the offensive load, I definitely think Edmonton in Game 2 picked it up on the defensive side. I mean, maybe their goaltending isn't good, but their defenseman is probably just as good as their goaltending. I bet their defenseman and their offenseman blocked 40 shots. I mean,
Oh,
Kubalik kind of
it's a
didn't get a shot
possibility.
until like the second period, until 10 minutes into the second period. They
They-
already had power plays, but still, Edmonton blocking shots. David Nurse, I mean, everybody blocking shots all over the ice. I got to say, it was a big effort in the defensive zone, but once the puck was on McDavid's stick, another player didn't exist on that ice.
Just basically where I'm at is I can't wait for Game 3. I mean, it's been a great series to start her off.
Tomorrow's going to be a big
Kane
day.
looks like an absolute stud as usual, and I think we move on to the Coyotes and the Predators here.
So we're going from one just great series to just a big upset. Has that game even started going? I really think that game I think puck drop is not too far away for the second bout between the Coyotes and Nashville. I think it gets going at 2:30 Eastern, so not too far away, couple hours. You have Florida and New York that actually just dropped the puck. But yeah, let's get into it. Coyotes, Predators, big upset. Wasn't expecting this in terms of how many goals the Coyotes put up. It was all of them the entire game. I mean, 4-3. I mean, the Predators were playing from behind the entire
It's a
game.
lopsided 4-3.
It was a lopsided 4-3, yeah.
To me,
kick it off.
Man, Arizona, as Biz Nasty says, a wagon, just a wagon. They were flying around out there. The young guns, Christian Dvorak. I mean, Stepan, our ex-Ranger, a guy we love. Grabner, another breakaway, shorthanded as usual. I mean, they played up to the Biz Nasty hype. Darcy Kemper looked good in net all game long.
Darcy Kemper looked good in net all game long.
Bottom line for me is Nashville is offensively as deep as could be. I mean, how many more moves could the GM make? Matt Duchene, Ryan Johansson. You got Roman Yossi on D. You got UC Saros and Pecorine in goal. You can't ask for much more power than what Nashville carries. The bottom line is they live and die off Philip Forsberg is what it looked like the other night. And, they were flat. They were flat. And if you can't play 60 minutes against a young, fast team like the Coyotes, you could be on your way out in 3, just like the Rangers are looking like right now. That's the way that game looked to me. I mean, Arizona, it was all Arizona.
I find Nashville just like such an enigma, just because they're young, they're good, but it's not like they don't have playoff experience. They have been to the
Cup.
They've been far and deep, and they've played the Hawks good for years. They've played deep into the playoffs, but it just never pans out. They are, like, honestly, in my eyes, like the Tampa Bay of the West, right? Like Tampa Bay, been in the series, great for a very long time, but you just never really see them putting everything together. And that stood out. I mean, even I really got behind. Nashville was taking a couple penalties. I liked that top power play unit of the Coyotes, the Phil Kessel. Who else is on there? Christian Dvorak, Taylor Hall, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and Clayton Keller. Clayton Keller putting that third goal in right on the power play. The group had a lot of chemistry, getting a lot of passes, getting some shots. I was very surprised by how well the Coyotes just looked as a unit in terms of how bad I think that Nashville really just didn't answer the call, right? Like they're a team that can overwhelm. You just didn't see that as much.
Yeah, I mean, changing my tune here. After watching that game, if they come out like this again, I'm gonna have to say Arizona in 4. Just his nasty's been talking about the wagon, and boy, they looked everything like a wagon the other night. They were flying around out there, excited to play. Young, speedy, skilled. You have veterans like Grabner and Stepan now. Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the back end, big goal the other night. I mean, just a really good team, underrated in my opinion. A quiet killer in these playoffs here, I think.
I don't know. I think if Nashville came out with the met the expectations that were set of them, maybe we'd be singing a different tune. But for right now, this is Arizona's series to lose. We'll see how it turns out here in Game 2. 2 hours away from puck drop, so I'm sure we'll be talking about it soon. But we're excited to do it.
Give me Arizona plus 1.5 in the parlay.
Arizona plus 1.5 in the parlay. Wow,
I'll take the minus 255.
It's not, the flames on the shoulder aren't the hottest thing. The shit coming out of your mouth just hot AF, Mr. G.
That's going to be my game of the day. I'm taking the Yotes after this talk.
Taking the Yotes after this talk. We'll see about that. You hit pretty well. I'm usually the cold as ice in terms of the betting because I'm an optimist. Being an optimist kills me all the time. I'm always loving it. I'm always loving the teams, and usually gets me. But Mr. G, we're looking at let's talk about Calgary Flames versus Winnipeg. Since you're rocking
Calgary,
the Flames jersey, I want to hear from you first. I'm not gonna start this off. So let's get it popping.
Well, for me, one of my ex-Ranger favorites, Cam Talbot, out there firing on all cylinders in Game 1. He looked good. A couple of big saves. Another one of our fan favorites, Matthew Tkachuk included. It was a physical bout for sure. Tkachuk came out annoying as usual, looking good, flying, throwing the body. Obviously, we had a little incident that we'll get into with you because you had a nice opinion on it last we spoke. But, they showed you their firepower in Game 1. You got Johnny Ham and Cheese, a.k.a. Johnny Gaudreau, another Jersey boy. Out here, he scored a nice goal. You got Andrew Mangiapane. You got the list goes on. I mean, the scoring depth with Mikael Backlund. These guys, they scored from the first line to the fourth line. They looked everything like what I thought they would look like. And, Game 1 was all Calgary. Obviously Winnipeg, you got some great guys in Line A and Scheifele, and things didn't work out for him in Game 1. Maybe a little different outlook in Game 2, but I'm still hanging on tight with Calgary here for the series. I like Tkachuk. I like Talbot in net. I like their coaching situation, their defense. So, what do you got for me on this series, bud?
I was really impressed by how Winnipeg responded to the loss, not only to the Game 1 loss, but to the loss of Scheifele and Laine. Dude, your two best goal scorers and your two highest point makers on your team going down in Game 1, not being there for Game 2. And the team is just like, you know what, next man up. We're all great players. We're all here to play. We all know how to play the game. Let's get into it, right? I think, I want to get into that Scheifele-Tkachuk incident that happened, and I think the Winnipeg's coach, I think his name is Paul Maurice. I think that's who it is. Come on, man. What are you doing? You're calling that intentional. I'm a hockey player, played all my life. I was probably one of the fastest players always on the ice. I was one of the players that you could see his feet is moving faster than his body can even react. You are just going 1,000 miles an hour in a direction, and when you're trying to make a split-second reaction, not all the time are you going to have a correct foot placement or your skate's going to hit the ice. When you actually watch the play, you see the nick of his skate catch the ice. He catches an edge, and it sends his foot up. To actually call that deliberate, I don't know, when I was a hockey player, I don't think there was ever a talk in the locker room, ever a talk of any guy, ever even a talk of someone talking shit that wanted to go kill somebody, that was ever like, I'm going to try and go cut someone's Achilles tendon or cut the back of their leg with my skate. I got kicked in the face with a hockey skate, and I got a concussion from it, and it hurt for weeks. That never happened. And to call that deliberate, I think that's a hot fucking take.
Well, that is a hot take. I mean, part of the game, unfortunately, freak accidents happen. To me,
guys get their throat cuts, they get their wrist cuts. This happens.
I watched the replay 3 or 4 times before this episode, just to get an opinion on it. I mean, I played that way. That was my style of hockey. I was annoying. I was an agitator. I talked shit. I fought. In some situations, as I moved on, I wasn't as successful with points and stuff like that. But, I mean, pretty much all the way to junior B, I was able to play the game all types of ways. And I played like Kachuk. That's why I love him so much. I mean, he's my favorite player in the league right now. I'm rocking a Calgary jersey, for Christ's sake. I just – freak accident to me. I watched it 4 or 5 times. There's no way the kid did it on purpose. Paul Maurice, obviously animated, always has been. Just defending his team, and it's the middle of the playoffs. Things are said, things are done that normally don't happen, and it's going to happen this way. It's the playoffs. Your heart and soul's on the line here. So obviously, Paul Maurice, I think you're wrong, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because it's an emotional situation here.
I think
big series between 2 Canadian teams, little rivalry action. So trying to fire it up a little bit, maybe get his boys aggravated and have them come out firing on a higher cylinder than the other night.
100%. Listen, they were like, he's telling his boys they deliberately took out our top 2 players. He's telling his boys that, and he's trying to get them fired up. Because you know what? If I was in that locker room, I'd be fired up. I'd be saying anything deliberate. I'd be telling myself anything I needed to tell myself just so the next time I came out, there was not anything you could do to be more competitive than me, So I kind of understand it, but still, I think that's a super hot take. And I don't see professionals want something like that to happen to each other. That's just not for me. I
agree with you 100%.
Honestly,
man.
There's a reason Happy Gilmore took his skate off and tried to stab somebody, but he didn't make it to the show. He wasn't a pro. He didn't have it in him. Again, there's only been one guy in history that tried to do it. It was Happy Gilmore. It wasn't Kachuk. So
yeah, for me, like you said, super hot take. Not agreeing with it. Obviously, I could see where he's going with it, trying to get the boys fired up, get the boys in the locker room pissed off, and
it worked. They won.
It worked out. It worked out for him. So great coaching decision on his part. And let's move into Minnesota and Vancouver here because you and me were very excited about this one. This one was going to keep our parlay alive. It was the hope of all hope for the weekend. Vancouver was firing on all cylinders for the first 30 minutes. I thought for sure, that we finally had it right. But obviously things didn't work in our favor. And, still, this is going to be a great series. I really thought Vancouver was going to bring the old brooms out. But, wow, Minnesota firing on all cylinders. Zuccarello, Kevin Fiala, Eric Stahl, Matthew Dumba, Zach Parise, Jared Spurgeon. Wow, just flying. A team that everybody has shit-talked and said you wasted your money on Zuccarello and you guys are buying old players like Eric Stahl. You're never going to win. Well, proof if they play like that, we could very well see them go deep.
Yeah, this one hurt. I was the Avs game we'll get into a little bit stoked on. The Philly game stoked on. I was so looking forward to this game. And as you watched Vancouver and as it was 0-0, I was so confident. I watched Vancouver. I was like, they are all over the Wild. They are
buzzing.
They're taking they had shots from everywhere. They were getting control. They weren't letting the Wild get too many scoring chances. It wasn't like the Wild were being shut down all over the ice, but it was a good, hard-fought battle. But I thought that the wind was in Vancouver's side, and it was that was tough. That was tough watching that go. It was tough watching another parlay drop on us, because that would have put us in the green. That would have saved the whole weekend, right?
Yeah, not the green, but we would have been even. The boys would have been even, and obviously – We're not including the $300 Stanley Cup win bet on the Rangers in that because that's on the line tonight here. But Yeah, man, it was a heartbreaker for sure. What a hockey game. I mean, two teams hell-bent on winning a first playoff game, flying around. Pedersen looked good. JT Miller was all over the ice for me. I mean,
Jacob Markstrom looked great for
another
Vancouver in net.
ex-Ranger.
I honestly
Brock
thought
Besser,
post saves
Quinn
great.
Hughes. Even on the Minnesota side, you had Matthew Dumba, Zach Parisi. All the boys looked good. Everybody was firing. I mean, another good hockey game to me on the West side. Very similar to the Columbus-Toronto series. Fast-paced, a lot of good shots, a lot of big saves, and just a
Big
great hockey
saves.
game.
Great
Physical, just probably turning into quickly one of my favorite series on the West.
Could you imagine that? Like all these amazing hockey games, and we're talking about our favorite hockey games. Minnesota, Vancouver, and Toronto, Columbus, right? Like we're talking all off-market games, but these games are turning out to be bouts.
Gems. I mean, that Minnesota-Vancouver game was every bit as good as the Columbus-Toronto game. It was a hell of a hockey game.
I don't know. I think I saw more out of Matthews, Tavares, and Nylander than I saw out of the front, like JT Miller, Hughes, and everyone on Vancouver. I just saw more of that firepower in Toronto than I did in Vancouver. But I think not Mrazek. What is his name?
Markstrom.
I thought Markstrom looked better than Anderson did, even because, like, dude, some of the toe saves and like the really like nitty gritty saves, he was just like, those should have been goals. Like I think the Wild could have had 3 or 4 in the first period, and he did a phenomenal job shutting them.
Still taking Vancouver in 5 here. Obviously,
I like Vancouver. I still like Vancouver.
Sure, I liked Vancouver in 4. With the Minnesota winning the first game, we'll take her to 5.
We both took Vancouver in 4, and I
still do like Van. I thought they controlled the majority of the game.
I agree.
I thought Minnesota got their bounces. They hung in there. They played tough. They played defensive, and they were able to steal a game there. And Alex Stalock, holy shit! I mean, wow. Stood on his head, just an absolute, from what I call the backup goaltender. If he plays like that, wow. Sorry, lost a little power here. We got some hurricane issues going on, so down to one light if my light is cut off, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that's okay. We just finished up all the qualifying rounds for the fans, so we really got through a lot of what we wanted to. We still want to talk just about a couple games here, just because, I mean, excitement doesn't even begin to explain both games. I mean, Colorado Avalanche versus St. Louis Blues. I don't think a more exciting finish could have happened in a game other than getting a game winner at 0.1 seconds left. I mean, I don't know how many times. How many times did the refs? I was watching it live.
Never should have got rid of him. Hot take.
Never should have got rid of him. They had to do it for the cap, though. I mean, man,
they picked up Tyson Barrie. They swapped contracts.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I would have left Tyson Barrie in Colorado if I was them. I mean, look at this guy, an absolute weapon. Absolute weapon, Nazem Kadri. He is a instigator, a goal scorer. He can do it all. I like him a lot, man.
It's like a Radulov, man. Like, I mean, think when he was on Montreal, he single-handedly, like, beat the New York Rangers in that freaking series. It was sad to see, but now he's on Dallas, and he's a stud. And I think, just that was really all I wanted to talk about. I mean, McKinnon, buzzing. I mean, the game was great. 2 powerhouses playing each other, and it literally came down to the last, like, millisecond of this game.
Yes,
so,
absolutely. It was a great game. I mean, Ryan O'Reilly, Nazem Kadri, Nathan McKinnon. Think about all the names on the ice for these two teams. Vladimir Tarasenko. You just got absolute firepower out there.
Let's just say
two teams could be the Western Conference Final.
No, I hope we'll get into them in a second. I may be hoping that the Hawks or the Knights are there, but I hope that the Avalanche and Blues meet again. That's all I'll say. However the brackets shake out, however, the redistribution of seeding works out, I hope the Avs and Blues come together again. And that is just a 7-game series that we all get to enjoy.
This could be a rivalry for years to come after that game.
I can't wait. But let's get into it. Last game, we don't have to talk too much about it. I think, they both showed it. Both teams are absolutely stacked. This is another great matchup. I think I'm super behind the Knights, but talk to me about that game. I forced you to watch some highlights of this game just because it was a pretty game.
What William Carrier, I mean, I didn't really watch much of it. I haven't been getting too far into the qualifying rounds.
Round robin, you mean?
I like the round robin is not for me. The qualifying round is more me. I like the heart behind everything. To me, this is like an exhibition game. But I mean, boy, the Las Vegas Knights down 3-0, 4 unanswered. You come back, you win 5-3. I mean, William Carrier with the between the legs, the off the boards rebound between the legs. That's something guys practice, and you laugh at them in practice, and then that happens. I mean, wow, the goal of the playoffs for sure. I mean, there's been some snipes. There's been some great plays, but I mean, what a hockey play! That was
a game winner off the boards. He takes it backhand toe drag, turns his hands through the feet, pops it before Bishop can get across the net. And let's just talk about Ben Bishop, who's 6'8", not on skates, and his one leg could just reach across the net. Like, he doesn't have a lot of time. He did that in less than 2 seconds.
He was
one stick handle.
He was not engaged. He didn't play.
Ben Bishop wasn't even there.
He was up in the press box, for my opinion. But
yeah, I mean, if the Stars want to do anything,
you're an absolute stud. That was not a performance. I mean, that was tough. That was tough. I mean, Dallas, though, you don't realize how deep they really are. I mean, take a look at that. Take a look at that team.
Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin. I just talked about Radulov from the Montreal, changed the series, absolute instigator in front of the net. He's going to punch you in the face. He's going to score goals. Corey Perry.
You got Klinkberg. You got Miro Heiskanen. I mean, oof.
Joe Pavelski from the Sharkies.
Corey Perry.
Blake Como. Like, they got a lot of great players. I did not know that they did so much wrangling because I'm looking at –
They got a nice mix of veterans and new young guys.
A lot of vets.
They got a nice little thing there. They're a win now team though. If they don't win in the next two seasons, they don't win.
No, they after this, they have to win this season or next season.
They're like a San Jose of the previous 3 years. Well, that's where Dallas is now.
Why do you think Pavelski's freaking there? Dude?
I know.
Like they're a freaking loner.
Right? Thornton will be there next.
Oh my
Hot take.
Hot take. We bring back Joey Thornton. We keep him in the league. We need the beard. It was probably the best beard team between him, Brent
I'm
Burns.
trying to grow the Joey Thornton beard in myself right now.
Thornton. I don't know if the wife is gonna let me. I don't know if that's gonna happen for us. But I mean that's really all the games we had to cover here in the West, JG. I think we did a really great job. I think it was oh wow, blew a tire here. Blew a tire.
One too many Budweisers over the last couple hours here.
So. One too many Budweisers. It's okay. But I mean, went through a lot of games. It was a lot of fun doing it with you. We're gonna be signing off here. You want to sign us off here, JG? What are we doing?
Absolutely, man. I mean, listen, it was a great birthday weekend. Episodes 3 and 4 came out. We did some beer drinking. We changed it up today here. Like I said, hot take, I'm going to take the Arizona Coyotes on the money line, and I'm also going to take them with the points. So that's my bet of the day. And, we might be betting a little parlay ticket coming up here shortly on Instagram. So we're going to sign out, and we'll see you guys in a couple of days, man. It's been a pleasure to my buddy Mr. Beardola on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, Mr. Ginta, it's been a pleasure. We're gonna let a couple days go by. We're gonna watch some games here, and then we're gonna get back with everyone and see where we're at. See which, hopefully, if any series have ended at this point. If not, we're gonna be tuning back in and just hopefully looking at games 4, looking at games 5, and just speculating about what's really gonna happen here at the end of the qualifier, leading into the bracket finals. And we'll definitely be creating our own brackets, maybe creating a league. If you all want to join it on NHL.com, we'd love to do it. But please like, share, and comment on our video. We want to get engaged with you fans, and definitely let us know what you like, what you don't like, and we'll adjust to you guys. We're here to support you, entertain you, and keep this going. But can't wait for episode 5. Episode 4 was an absolute gem, and it's been real.
You.
Cheers
Be
to
good,
you,
pal.
You take it easy.
Watch some hockey, bud. I'll talk to you soon.